everybody, and welcome to the Harry Potter Trading Card Game Podcast. My name is Sammy,
I'm Huamin.
and today we are going to do just kind of like a general set overview conversation, whatever you want to call it, about Diagon Alley and dive into a bunch of different aspects of the set, talk about some stuff that we liked, some most played cards, what the set introduced, a whole bunch of different things. And you'll get our thoughts on the set, which we were talking about before this episode, and it's actually quite a bit more interesting as a set than I remember it being. Now that we're like reviewing it and looking at it, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that I just wasn't expecting.
Yeah, and we're also looking at it from a 2026 lens on like the set from the year 2000 or somewhere around there. So like
Yeah,
more
very
than
different.
a quarter of a century later. And so our perspective on trading card games has definitely like evolved over the course of 25, 26 years or something. So we're going to be seeing things that probably people of the time didn't actually see or like think about in that way. But hopefully it'll be interesting still. So
Yeah.
let's get into it.
So we want to start by just kind of talking about like what the set has introduced because every set kind of introduced something new. So we had base set that introduced obviously the game, Quidditch Cup introduced a new a new lesson type, and then this introduced a whole new card type, and it's sort of kind of like redefined in some ways how we play the game.
Of course, this new card type is locations. I feel like a lot of times we take locations for granted, but yeah, they weren't in the first two sets.
Which is wild to
Uh,
think about because they feel like they were. Like they feel like they've just always kind of been there.
Also, speaking as someone that didn't get started until after the Revival Project started, like way later, locations have always been there.
They have always been
They've been
there
there
for you.
forever. Yeah, locations, what they are a card that usually has a symmetrical effect that affects both you and your opponent at the same time, and there can only be one location in play. If you play a location and there's already a location in play, then you'll discard the old location. So it does add that sort of like location minigame that some people like,
I love that. I
where
think it's
you're
so much fun.
yeah, it definitely increases interactivity of like, hey, can I stick my locations that's more beneficial to me than to you? Because you usually don't play locations that are better for your opponent than they are for you. That would be
That would be
questionable.
awful deck building.
Yeah.
But I think this card type introduced a really cool aspect to the game. I think a lot of people, and there was somebody in Discord yesterday talking about the like role playing that you could do in this game of casting spells and like summoning creatures is one reason why so many people like love this game and like played it a lot as a child. And the idea that you can only go to one place at a time and you can't be in two places at once is just like a really cool, flavorful piece of this card type that I really love. And I love that that has defined what this card type is, and it just works so naturally into the game. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, so next time you're playing a game of HBTCG, just imagine like 11-year-old Harry and 11-year-old Ron. Suddenly you're in like the Great Hall, and then Harry's like, "No, Ron, come with me," and drags you to Azkaban, and you're like, "Why in the world am I in Azkaban now?"
Pretty much. That's the new card type that was introduced. It was the last new card type introduced until Revival did a new card type. So this kind of rounded out the original 8 from the original game. On top of that, this was also the first set after Quidditch Cup. So Quidditch Cup introduced the Quidditch lesson type. And so I think after you introduce something, the next set kind of needs to live up to the hype of like, we introduced this cool thing. What are you going to do next? And this set had some Quidditch in it. Some of the Quidditch was interesting and some of the Quidditch was not so interesting. Me personally, I felt like the Quidditch in this set did not live up to the same hype as Quidditch Cup. And it felt like it was a bit of a down step from where Quidditch Cup left the Quidditch archetype or Quidditch lesson type. Not to saying that these cards were bad, because we'll talk about some that were pretty good and still see play
Mm,
today. Pretty good is
word.
is a word.
There's like one Quidditch card that's like notable and one Quidditch card that somewhat gets played. Spoiler alert, these are 3 month long match and Blood in the Stands.
Yeah, and then there's
Which
also some anti
is
like
something.
Quidditch stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's some stuff going on.
The
Um,
anti-Quidditch stuff is like so niche that
you
no
mean
one.
canceled match isn't played in every single deck?
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, I switched over to rescheduled match instead.
Oh, fair, fair. Yeah,
So they introduced Quidditch stuff. Sorry, not
yeah.
actual
Stuff, yes.
Quidditch. Yeah, more Quidditch stuff that was largely a miss. And then they also had a pretty decent chunk of cards dedicated to like item synergies and counter item synergies,
Yeah,
which
this was interesting. We didn't realize this until we were talking about this beforehand, and we're like, wow, there's a lot of cards in here that work into that idea.
which I think like kind of gives rise to the formation of multiple archetypes. I feel like if you just play base set, you're kind of just like, oh, it's a damage race. Am I throwing creatures down or am I like chucking spells at your face and they're all just dealing damage? And maybe I play like a healing card at some point to try to like win this race to hit breakpoints of like I'm not going to die the next turn. Now we see like cards that are working with themselves or like with other cards to get something that is greater than what they were standing alone, which didn't we didn't really see that much in base set
Yeah, base and
and
Quidditch set were
Quidditch.
pretty much just play damage cards and end game. And it was pretty much play creatures and maybe a couple of spells. But decks, I think, felt very, very similar. Whereas this introduced the items and some other stuff that we'll talk about too. And I think this is a really interesting thing that this set introduced, that it introduced the ability to like show your personality as a player and as a deck builder, and that was something I think that was missing from the first two sets, was that ability to really say like I'm somebody who really likes combo decks and I'm going to build this intricate suite of cards that do combo-y stuff, or I'm somebody who really likes synergy and typal things and I'm going to do that now. The introduction of that with this I think is probably even more significant than the introduction of a new card type, because it just expanded what the player identity could be and what the decks could be.
And the last thing that I think it introduced, I'm not sure. Like, I would have to transport myself to the year 2000 if I really wanted to know if people were playing like control decks during this era. But I think that there's some sort of nascent control deck that like possibly now exists with the card pool. You now have like decent sweepers, you have decent removal, you have decent stacks pieces that are just stopping your opponent from playing cards. And you can kind of just like stall out the game. I'm not sure what the end like win condition is of this control deck.
It's probably still just creatures and Steel Claw. And then you throw in like you're
Mm,
picking on Neville and stuff, which the set
I see.
made and whatnot. And so it's probably just like that what we know from Adventures at Hogwarts, the next set, and like what that kind of like creature deck is. Just insert a
Mhm.
lot of the control cards and then bam, there you go, your control deck. That's what I would assume it kind of starts to look like. But I think there's really
For
only
sure.
one card not released at this point, which is Scribble that was part of that control deck. Everything else was pretty much released in either like base set, the last set, or this one. So this really was, yeah, like kind of the core of what we would see later on, except for some of the creatures.
There's always more fishing creatures that are coming, especially
Yes.
in Adventures at Hogwarts. Brings us Black Bat and the Gargoyles, and
Welsh Green Dragon, like
yeah,
the
that's
big boogeymen that still exist even today. Those
yeah,
cards are still played a lot because they're just that good. But yeah, so this set really introduced some interesting stuff. We'll dive into some of it more. We'll talk about some of the top cards played. But yeah, this set just had some really interesting things. And the more you look at it and you just go over the card set over and over again, the more you start to see these themes, which we never really thought, I guess, were as strong of themes as much.
So let's dive right into it on talking about the top cards from the set. At the very top of this list, we have our two cards that are currently banned in
Yep.
Revival. One of them, Letters from No One, just a very, very efficient way to tax your opponent's hand, possibly tax their actions if they don't have enough cards in their hand. It's just extremely punishing. And the other one is Wand Shop, which just kind of ramps pretty hard.
Pretty hard. I will always miss
Uh,
One Shot being played, but I will understand as well why it is banned.
With the introduction of One Shop, and then also this set has Self-Stirring Cauldron and the two cost books. Those are so many different ways to just start ramping, getting higher up in power, and actually playing those crazy cards that were probably too high up to consider playing before. Stuff like, I think Obliviate is base set,
Yes.
or Out of Control was Quidditch Cup. Even like Midair Collision if you want to start recycling your characters.
Yeah, there was just a lot of cool stuff that this set kind of like opened up the possibility for you to be able to play. And I wish that we could go back to when the game was being produced, because I would love to talk to the designers and say like, did you look at the first two sets and you saw like, hey, we're not able to get to these high cost cards because creatures are too
Mhm.
efficient or whatever the situation is. So you decided to like make this set full of some ramp cards that are now going to help you get to those. Like I'm just curious where this shift came from. We can only speculate, obviously, but it's very interesting to see like such a hard push come in this set and then future sets
Mhm.
too.
Those are the banned cards. Moving on. Next one I put on the list was Gringotts. I think this is the only location I would say in the set that actually like sees competitive play. It's just very, very strong, especially as like an anti-creature card. Once you start having 50% more actions per like creature attacks, creatures get a lot less efficient.
Yeah.
So it's just a good card. And then of course in Revival, there was a time where it felt like everyone and their mother was playing Gringotts plus Lucius's Cane plus Egyptian Holiday after PoA released.
Yep, and just making more combo decks. So we took a set that introduced combo decks, and we're like, let's design cards that make more combo stuff,
Yeah.
which was fun.
It's what people like. People like more actions. Give them more actions. Definitely a cool card.
And the next card that we're going to talk about is Picking on Neville, which we are still shocked is only a common card. And we will never get over that it's a common card.
Yeah, what even needs to be said about picking
I
on
know,
Neville?
I know.
Card is, oh my God. There's so many times where it's like, hey, do you want a bad choice or a worse choice? And you'll be like, yeah, I'll take the bad choice. Thank you very much.
Yep. But the funny thing is, I think in the classic game, Picking on Neville is incredibly strong. It was like the go-to thing to get rid of whatever you want on the board. Whereas Revival, stuff seemed to shift a lot, or maybe as we just all became more familiar with the game, it really started shifting. And I'm not saying it's a bad card anymore, but there's
Mhm.
definitely a shift in what people choose to play to destroy their opponent's stuff. And Picking on Neville is not always the go-to, but it is still, I think, the most played card out of all cards in all of our tournaments for like 10 years. So it's got staying power, and that says quite
For
something
sure.
about a common level card.
I also think that it's not being played as much recently because Transfig has been like on the
Yeah.
downtrend recently. Been seeing a bigger shift towards Quidditch, Charms, Potions rather than Transfig if you're looking for like a secondary color to splash.
Yeah, which is really interesting. Maybe that'll shift and Picking on Neville will come back. I don't really know. We'll have to see, but that's really interesting. But I am actually looking at the card page for Diagon Alley on our website, Akio. And the card after Picking on Neville in the set is Piggly Dudley, which costs one more and only targets creatures and characters. And Picking on Neville costs one less and targets anything. And I just don't understand who thought of this. Who at Wizards was put in charge of costs and what? I just don't get this. I don't understand.
You have to realize that putting it on top of their deck is stronger than discarding it.
Sure.
By
It's just crazy.
Diagon Neville is at the same strength as a restricted section. That card's a great card. But Diagon Neville does have its weaknesses, which might also be why it's somewhat fallen out of favor, especially when I think character decks were a lot more popular. Being able to recycle your characters that you've used already
Yeah.
because your opponent played Picking on Neville on you is not a good feeling for the person playing Picking on Neville. But I also do think that character decks somewhat have been shifting towards like Rita Skeeter damage.
Yeah. They're also not really much just like general characters anymore. They're really shifting toward either like the Quidditch team deck or the Weasley deck, and not really just like here's a bunch of characters. So that shift is also happening quite a bit too.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe Picking on Neville is a little better into like the modern character decks than the character decks of old, which just wanted to just recycle a bunch of things.
It's an interesting card, and hopefully we don't design a Picking on Neville.
I mean, it's like it's been the gold standard for removal for
25
ever since
years.
it's that. Yeah, 25 years.
25 years.
That's that. But talking about another gold standard of removal, it's the first one in the only grouping of cards that I have on this list of top cards and most played, which is Table Trouble. This starts off our grouping of all of the item and anti-item cards. We have Table Trouble, Draco Malfoy Slytherin, Christmas Feast, Professor Cornus Quirrell, all the 2 cost discard to draw 3 books, and Self-Stirring Cauldron. These all feel like they're lumped up into this let's have item synergies in this set.
There's actually a couple more. I just found Swelling Potion. I'm not saying this card is good, but I'm saying you
Yeah, for
Swelling
sure.
Potion, Bludger in the Stand. So there are like a lot of just things that say item on them for the first
Yeah,
time.
Keep Up to Rat. Someone tried to like Moonseed Potion me with Connie Owl. There's some stuff in here that if you start digging deeper, yeah, like they exist.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about them. They exist. But this, I feel like, forms kind of like the core of the item synergy interaction suite that this set release that is relevant moving on into the current era.
Yeah, and most of these cards still see play. I will say Self-Stirring Cauldron, I think, sees less play because maybe ramp has gotten better and people just don't need that for the ramp anymore. But all of these cards are still played in item decks all the time or in decks to get rid of items. So these are very highly played cards. And Table Trouble is still a card that we talk about during our BNR discussion every single year. We haven't
I mean,
pulled the trigger, but we always talk about it.
it's problematic. I do think that the fall of Self-Stirring Cauldron is kind of like subsequent with like the rise of better removal options or like more removal options. Because now if they're playing potions, they can Delight of the Death Eaters it. If they're playing
Yep.
charms, they can hit it with Depulso. It's not just locked into like Transfig that's getting rid of your Self-Stirring Cauldron now. It's every single color kind of just has an answer to this if they want one. And that's really bad when you have this card that you toss two lessons for and then it gets exploded.
Yeah, and the old deck around it used to be like start Draco Malfoy, play Self-Stirring Cauldron. And usually when you played Self-Stirring Cauldron, you were getting to the point where you were going to like combo off with VTJ or something. And so it was
Sure.
generally like that turn I'm gonna win when I play Self-Stirring Cauldron. And you could still do that in today's meta, but with VTJ being restricted to one and just kind of other prevention cards or taxing cards, I think this has fallen out of favor for that reason as well. I do want to talk about Draco Malfoy a little more
Oh my God.
because he
Yeah.
on top of being kind of like the flagship character for this set and for like the item archetype to really introduce with probably one of the best characters ever designed. I'm not saying the design is the best ever, but the character itself is one of the best. He is still incredibly well liked, played all the time, so much synergy with so much stuff. I mean, every item that we come out with, talking about Draco is kind of a thing to think about. Like, is
Yeah.
the cost too low that Draco's going to give you too much advantage early on because of that? Like Child's Broom, and there was a potion card, a Boobatuber
Flowerworm
Plus.
Mucus,
Or that,
I
yeah,
think.
sorry. And so
Yeah.
we're like, can we do a one cost that provides one power when Draco Malfoy exists? Or should it be two? And so, like, he is still, I don't want to say causing problems on the design side, but causing us to think about the play patterns and the timing and all of that with him as a starting character. And he's also part of our BNR discussion every year with Table Trouble.
Yeah, usually those are lumped together. Like, if
Yeah.
we ban Table Trouble, what happens to Draco Malfoy Slytherin? They go hand in hand, not unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
And Draco Malfoy Slytherin is just, he's a character that almost always provides an action every turn. Maybe he skips the first turn, but afterwards it's basically an action turn. The thing with those kinds of characters is that I feel like they need deck restrictions on what you can actually be playing. And if those deck restrictions are a little bit too wide, then maybe we have to ask ourselves, like, is this good? Should we be doing something about this? Or like what could we do as like from a design perspective to like rein that in? I'm talking about new characters, not like the characters that have already been released. Stuff like Draco Malfoy Slytherin, now like Lynching Cadogan are kind of very popular. When are they getting turned on and how often are they getting turned on? And what deck building contortions are you doing to your list to like make sure that this is happening?
Yeah.
When those get too wide and too broad, then maybe there's a problem. And Draco Malfoy, his deck building restriction is like extremely wide because items are kind of good.
Kind of very, very good.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys will see some cool item stuff in the next set. And hopefully Draco won't get overpowered with them, but we'll see
Keep an eye
later
on
this
it.
year. Yeah.
Yeah. As we've been doing for the last how many years?
Yeah.
7 years, eight
Right.
years, 9 years.
Yep.
I don't know.
So we also
But
have Professor Quirrell, which is still a very heavily played card, lots of times in the sideboard, but he's just really good. He bounces both items, so there's that anti-item stuff we were talking about, but also
Mhm.
anti-creature stuff, which is a really cool thing that he does as well as like a nice kind of gravy on top of an already good effect. And being colorless is also just really good. We talked about this in a previous podcast when we made events that we also wanted to do something that was a colorless way to remove them so that every deck had some kind of access, and Quirrell
Mhm.
gives every deck that access. Granted, they give every color access in this set with items, even if it's just one card, but Quirrell
Mhm.
kind of expands that, which is which is nice.
Yeah, and more than just like a one for one removal thing, being able to be like a entire board sweeper is extremely devastating, as people on the wrong side of the table trouble can witness and tell you about.
So let's actually talk about this. So we have Quarrel and Table Trouble released in the same set.
Hmm.
One discards all items, one
Yeah.
bounces all items. And
Yeah.
Quarrel costs two actions, whatever. Table Trouble is one in five lessons. But Quarrel is never seen as like an issue, whereas Table Trouble is usually noted as an issue. So is it like the idea that if you get to bounce stuff, you can just play it again and like you're not really losing stuff in the same way? Whereas Table Trouble is like getting rid of it so you can't play it again. And is that like the factor that kind of separates them?
I feel like table trouble is usually just like more brutal. Say you're playing DMS and you have like five items on the board and Coral bounces them all, and that was their entire turn. Well, yeah, they got rid of five items, they're in your hand, but next turn you just play three of them
Yeah.
and you like mitigated half of the damage of Coral. If you have like five items on the board and then they play table trouble on you and you're DMS and you're like, well, I don't have any more items in my hand, I'm kind of screwed. It's that Coral is, I think, less good into a DMS than Table Trouble.
Yeah.
And since DMS is the flagship item character,
Yeah.
then it's a little bit more awkward. But
Agreed.
I'm not saying that Coral's not good because Coral is very good and being able to hit both items and creatures makes him extremely flexible. And creatures so far don't have a DMS-like ability. So being able to reset that, being able to prevent all of the damage that the creatures would have dealt to you on your next turn is also like very, very big. And that can also be like just a kind of time walk-ish situation where you gave up your turn, but like you're taking another turn after this. And you
Yeah.
set your opponent back some.
And I do want to say, I was listening to you when you said creatures don't have a certain character like that yet. We currently don't have anything designed to do that for creatures. It gives you the extra. I just want to put that out there. We will do some
Yes.
cool stuff with creatures and for creatures, but we don't have a DMS for creatures. I don't know if we'll
And
ever get to that point, but
no plans to ever
yeah,
do
no.
one. I would like nail the coffin on that thing so
Yes.
hard in the design phase.
I'd say Professor Hagrid is probably the closest we'll get. Maybe like a Grubbly Plank in the future could do something really cool, but like Hagrid's probably going to be the closest we'll get to that really strong benefit. So
If you squint at it, the current Fleur is kind of that, right?
you mean Fleur for the next set or
TT. Yeah,
oh yeah,
TT
yeah,
Fleur.
yeah.
Kind of.
Depending on the deck you're building, sure. Yeah.
Questionably.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
With a lot more.
Yes. But let's talk about real quick the last kind of group of cards in this item suite that you have listed, and that's the two cost books. I used to not dislike them, but I rarely used to include them in decks just because they were the two cost and the action to discard for draw three. I just never really wanted to do so. I never really put them in decks, but now I put them in many decks and I realized like the strength of those cards and they are in item decks. They're in non-item decks. They are just everywhere. Like these cards have held up to the test of time with just how strong they are and how playable they are and what they do. Like really well designed group of cards. And I'm really glad that they gave this to every lesson type so that everybody kind of had like the same quote unquote fix for these issues rather than having like a different thing, kind of like what we do now. Not saying that's bad, but we do it differently.
Definitely. It's parody. I'm glad they got like the numbers right on this. Like
Oh, so right.
putting in the two costs, super nice. The you have to use two actions to draw three to discard. Also very nice. It shouldn't have been draw two. It shouldn't have been draw four. Draw three is like exactly where it should have
Perfect.
been.
This set has
Very
some
well.
really well designed cards, I must say. We sometimes like pick on
And
certain cards, but for the most part, this set's pretty good.
we pick on certain Nevils as well.
Yeah, we do that. Goddamn
Yes.
jokes. Okay, let's move on to the
Are
next
you
one.
talking about a practical joke? That's
Oh
in
my
this set too.
God. Oh yeah, should we talk about that in this section too?
I mean, it's not a real card. It's literally a joke of a card. It
Well, so
says
it's
it
it's
right
like
in
the
there.
item version of Swarm, right?
Yes.
And then I think that
But,
didn't we do an event version of it too?
that's called Rita Skeeter.
That's very fair. Yeah, you're not wrong.
But yeah, that card's not a card. We can move on to the next card on
Sure.
this list, which is I was gonna bring him up when we talked about VTJ because he is grip hook, and if you've ever been on the VTJ grip hook receiving end, you have probably just lost that game.
Probably.
But even without VTJ, I think that Grip Hook is like just a very strong card. Even without Colin, which is usually the other synergy for Grip Hook, to make your opponent draw a lot of cards. Just being able to reset their hand when their hand has usually been like curated to have only good cards that they're waiting to play. It's rough getting hit by Grip Hook. And
Yeah.
then you make them discard like four good cards and then they draw four lessons and they're like, wow, I'm just borked this game.
Yeah, and he's using a lot of combo decks, but
Hmm.
he's also just sometimes in a deck as like a one or two of, whether
Hmm.
that deck is going to make you draw a lot or not, and then people will play him and he'll sit there, and then you kind of forget about him sometimes because he sits there for like 5 turns, and people will use him as kind of like a game finisher or to get around damagey things. Like he's got a lot of versatility, which is really, really cool.
And he also is one of those characters that put him down, fire him off,
Yeah,
discard him to pick on Neville when you get picking on Neville.
he's a
So,
great card.
yep, definitely one of the best characters.
Yeah.
Except, man, there's so many good characters these days. I don't know. And we keep printing more because, like, for some reason, people want to have like 8 or 10 characters in a set. Not going to point at any people or say any names here. And I'm always like, man, can we have less characters because the rarities are so screwed up when we have like 8 to 10 like colorless
Yep.
rares and
Yep.
everything's awful.
I think that we did an uncommon character at one point, so
Yeah,
there's
great. We have
that.
Animagus and
Yep.
House or the elf one, House Elf.
House Elf, yeah,
Yeah, great. Our two non-unique.
yeah.
I think Death Eaters is even a rare and it's
It
like it's
is, yeah, yeah.
non-unique. Yeah, oh my
Yeah, it
gosh.
is what it is.
Yeah. No, it's not. Well, it is what it is, of course. Like that's a tautology, but it doesn't make me happy is where I'm going at.
Well, we'll likely keep having 8 to 10, but hopefully, well, I don't know, because we already got what, nine for TT, and then for the set after that, we'll probably have like 10 to 12 because we're gonna have a lot of Death Eaters in that set. So
Let's see,
that's gonna be a
I'm
thing.
counting. Oh yeah,
Plus,
we have nine. Oh my God.
so
We have
many.
nine.
But
I
yeah, but
forgot we have two of them down in like let's change these ideas up.
yeah, despite the strength of some of the characters and how many new ones are coming out, Draco, Griphook, and Coral are all standing the test of time, and like they are
Yeah.
still super well played. They're still incredibly strong despite all these characters. So the design on these and just their interaction and their impact on the game is so
Mhm.
high that like they're standing the test of time, which is fantastic.
Enough talking about characters. Let's go on to 3 month long match, which I don't know if this got played all that much before Angelina. Like I only started after all the original five were out there. So like the only times I saw this was like, oh, I'm gonna start Angelina. I'm in her first turn, like lesson, muddy practice or 3 month long. And then like at some point in the near future, you will get hit with a catch the snitch for 10 or 15 damage.
Yeah, so there were really two decks that played this in Classic. One is the Angelina deck, just to get the third action every turn, and the other one was the Catch the Snitch 3 month long match kind of combo deck. That
Mhm.
was in Classic a little more flaky, I will say, mainly because you needed Catch the Snitch or no hands, and no hands because you couldn't really scry super well at the time. Just was so like
Hey,
iffy.
hey. Do you know a card that is in Diagon Alley? It's called Timeout.
Sure, if you want to do that shit, sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna sink now 3 actions into this combo and hope that there's a lesson in the top 6 cards of my deck.
Right. It's just it's crazy. So it
Yeah.
was kind of there. This and Muddy Practice are really the only two matches from the original, other than Hufflepuff and your like Seamus combo deck, that really see a large amount of
Yeah.
play. And now they don't see that much play anymore anyway. 3 month long was probably the last substantial match that the classic decks or sets kind of had. I don't think anything after that really came out that was super substantial until revival stuff. And if you want to call that substantial, like go ahead and call that substantial. As much as you think those matches
I
are.
I don't think that there's that many revival matches that are like being played because matches are
Yeah, no,
just it's really hard.
so
Either
hard.
you play a match and you're like, hey, I'm gonna solve this on the turn that I play it, which is basically Hufflepuff match. Or you play a match and you're like, hey, I hope that this never gets solved in the history of the world. And that's 3 months long and like money
Yep.
practice.
Also,
And
ironically, it's weird that 3 Month Long was released, or sorry, that Gryffindor match was released in Diagon Alley and not in Quidditch Cup with the other three houses. Instead, they
oh,
released
that's
practice match in Quidditch Cup and Gryffindor match in Diagon Alley. I don't know who made that decision, but I really don't like them right now. Now that I'm looking at the results of this.
yeah, you shouldn't like them
Yeah, no, I don't.
because you are someone that really, really likes your mirrored, like everything looks nice.
I
Cycles
do.
are all there.
I do.
If I released like a set of 4 books and then like the fifth one was missing, you would be super unhappy.
Well, I mean, yeah, so I really like my like card types and the cycles to be, set, and you really like a set or an even number of lesson types in each set. So we've each got our little
And I
things.
also like rarities being nice.
Well, that's never going to happen. So
It's
that
never
you're going to
gonna
have to
happen.
let go of.
I'm gonna finagle these rarities and like place slap common on like things that really have no business being common just because life is hard.
I mean, if we do another common event, that does now matter quite a bit, and that common event was wild. So we'll see what happens with that.
All right. That's enough about matches. Matches are they're a
They're
card
there.
type.
Yep,
Yeah,
they're
they exist.
there.
They're there for the ninth card type when you want to like turn on serious.
But yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about one of the most impactful cards, probably as impactful as Draco, I would say, and picking on
Mhm.
Neville, and that would be Through the Arch, which
Wow.
came out in this set, surprisingly.
I mean, it's themed around Diagon Alley, right? Like through the
Yeah,
arch,
well,
you're
like
going through the arch to
100%.
Diagon, which is also why you find the card Diagon Alley in base set. I don't know how much there needs to be said about Through the Arch. It's just so punishing. And like the
Yeah.
reward that you get is like it's so useless most of the time. If it was like you get a spell back because it's stopping spells, like yeah, I think people would be a lot happier with this card because like sure, I sunk 4 actions into this. My life sucked for 2 turns, but at least I got like my best spell back before you threw the arch me again,
Yep.
and I can't play it anymore.
Yeah.
But there's some like stuff that you can do where it's like, oh, I'm gonna like put it on 3 and then I'll skip the last action and then play like platform 9 3/4 or whatever to get some more actions so I can like do something outside of this turn. Or I'm gonna run McGonagall and then I'm just gonna build up until the point where like I can just burst you down after I toss through the arch with McGonagall and use my 2 actions to do something super impactful and meaningful.
I think that's
That's
all you have to say about Through the Arch because that pretty much summarizes the play experience. It's still one of the most played cards, which is weird that we keep saying this about cards from this set, but they are some of the most played and powerful, which is
yeah.
awesome but weird.
Through the Arch is also like just climbing in popularity, I think. I'm gonna
Yeah.
blame you on this for this. Actually,
Go ahead. Yeah,
Sammy,
this is my
like
fault. Yes.
your like Squid Tentacles deck, right? Like that got first that one time was
Yeah.
off the back of Through the Arch being super punishing.
It did all of the work I needed and it helped me to win. I mean, that's what adventures I think in the original five were meant to do was to kind of be enough of a pause that you could win. And Through the Arch just lives up to like what that is supposed to be to a T.
I
It
I
does so
mean
well.
it does it and way more.
Yeah,
Jeez,
love that card.
what an awful card. The dichotomy of man.
But the next card, I think everybody can agree that they love because everybody loves the character Hedwig, and
Uh,
she's just wonderful.
this card I think hasn't seen as much play recently.
Well, I think
It's
that's because creatures are seeing less play, which is kind
sure
of sad.
she used to see a lot of play in like the Forbidden Corridor decks where you'd like
Yes.
play Hedwig and then you'd toss Hedwig to Forbidden Corridor and then you play your another Hedwig and you're just getting like this Reparo on a body that like also is stopping that Forbidden Corridor for a turn, which is just like very, very strong. That interaction still is there. I don't think Forbidden Corridor is seeing as much play because I think it's like very hit or miss, super punishing, or like you can play around it and then it's not that great.
Hedwig, from our standpoint, I think has introduced some frustrations because she is a Gryffindor. And what is really frustrating about this is that people are like, well, if she's a Gryffindor, go back and errata Trevor and Scabbers to be Gryffindors as well. Blah, 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 whatever. And like she had just kind of like set this precedent where like future house creatures should be like the house that they're a part of, but then like we didn't do that to Crookshanks. And so like she sits in this just weird place where she's like the only house creature, pet, whatever, and the rest aren't. So she's just an anomaly, despite her effect being great and like her combo stuff in other decks, whatever. Like, I hate that the keyword is on there. I both love it and I hate it.
Dude, invisibility cloak is Gryffindor. Like,
I
why is
know it
this
makes
card
no
Gryffindor?
sense.
I think Hedwig is like the least of our problems with
Well,
regards to
sure,
like
sure.
invisibility cloak is like way, way, way high above Hedwig. But also, yes, I understand that people are like, hey, look at Hedwig. It's setting precedent. And we're like, no, this is not setting precedent.
Causes lots of
Watch out
problems.
for Malfoy's Eagle Owl coming to Slytherin near you.
Yeah, it's just a whole thing. But anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
so these
Uh,
were most of the cards that we thought were like the top played, most played, whatever, that were worth talking about.
and they're hopefully you agree with us that they are pretty impactful cards, and we're not totally off base.
Adjacent to most played cards, we have cards that are iconic that people love because of a meme or because it's just a memory from childhood, but they're
Spiral
not
Dive.
but they're not necessarily the most played or the best. So we'll start with Spiral Dive being one of them.
What am I supposed to say about this
I
card?
don't
Like
know.
I try to get this, I try to get this card banned every year and I
Yep.
fail.
Yep.
It's rough. The card's just too good. It hits for like 30 plus. Like what card at 5 like can hit for 30 plus? It needs to be stopped. That's just like a terrorist in card form.
Maybe one day the Spiral Dive deck will do super well and be consistent. Currently,
Hey,
it's just a little too inconsistent.
hey. Do you know what two cards are base set? Diagon Alley and Draco's Trick.
They are,
That's
yeah.
telling you that the Diagon Alley Draco's Trick Spiral Dive deck existed in when Diagon Alley was released.
Didn't mean it was good, but yes, existed was a thing. Sure, sure, sure. And also dumping your whole hand for Spiral Dive for damage, like you better be winning that turn or you're gonna have a rough next turn.
For sure. But like sometimes it's just like you just put in one copy of Spiral Dive and then
Yeah.
sometimes you just find yourself with like 13 cards in hand or something and then you're just like, oh, I'm gonna Spiral Dive and win. And like
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like that's not like good. I think it's okay to have that as a like a play pattern. If I get blown out by like Malevolent Mixture because they just had 5 or 6 potions lessons and I was at less than 12, then yeah, sure, you got me. That's good deck building on your part, and you found your Malevolent Mixture. Spiral Dive's the same thing. It's
I
just
bet what you're supposed to do is play Spiral Dive and then discard the 2 cost books to draw 3. That's probably what the designers were thinking when they made that card. They were just like, this
why
solves
not
all the problems.
why not discard the books to draw 3 and then play Spiral Dive for 3 more
Well, I mean,
damage?
yeah, if you want to do that, you could. But you could do the worst
And
thing and do
then
Spiral Dive and then draw 3.
yeah. And then what you do is you use Madame Irma Pince to bring them back.
One of the most iconic cards that does not see play, and we all wish did, because there's so many books now, and it would be wonderful to have like a starting character that cared about books. Unfortunately, Pince is that, and she does not care about them hard enough.
Yeah. Despite basing her entire identity around books, DMS does look better than Pince.
There's
So
25 books. Holy crap. Wow.
it's because you keep making cycles of 5 books at a
Because I
time.
love that, okay? It's what makes me happy. And we just need to find what makes us happy today. And that's what this is.
What makes you happy? But yeah, Pince's, we always meme about it. We've talked about it before. Pince will go mad with power at some point, yada yada. We would introduce a new like Pince character, I think, before like Pince actually gets good. I think there is design space to care about books in some other form than like use an action to bring one back from the discard pile. That's just so
To
inefficient.
your hand. To your hand. It's not even play. And one
Yeah,
day we will release the library as well. And maybe that's when we'll release Pince, and then we'll have a nice book thing. And at that point, we'll have 3 more cycles of books, and we'll have 40 books, and it'll all be good.
why don't we put the library in TT?
Because we have
We have
enough.
space for.
No, I think if we want to focus on the items, we can't.
What if it works with items? I don't know.
I mean, I'm not against it, but
We do have a spot in Charms for a location right now, so
we do, and I
it's
can't
okay.
think of a good name. So I mean, I'm about it. I've tried before, and it just has never fit. So like,
Yeah.
let's do it.
This is also like the set where they kind of just go to the library and cram and hit the book,
Yeah.
which is why Lesson Falls there. I don't know if that actually made like a connection to anyone, but that's why this is Lesson Fall because they're
Yes.
studying hard. Anyways, Pins.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Other thing people like a lot, and by people I mean Sammy and just Sammy, is the Bullseye Potion Suite.
Who doesn't like this? It was just like so cool from our childhood to do. Okay, that's why it's just
Yeah.
good.
See, you were introduced to this like 25 years ago. I was introduced to this like
As a fully
7, 8
grown
years
adult.
ago. Yeah. So
You're like, my brain was developed. I knew how to play a game at that point. Like, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's so different.
I looked at it and I was like, this sucks, man. I'm spending like 4 actions to deal like 17 damage or something off of my
Yep.
combo, and
Yep.
then I have nothing. I literally have nothing afterwards. Ay,
Well,
ay,
and
ay.
so the Ball Dry suite is what inspired me to push for the Wiggenweld suite and to mirror
Yep.
that. So, like, really
Yeah.
iconic suite for those who played back in 2001, and it led to another cool suite of cards in Goblet of Fire. Not saying that suite is good either, but it's there and it's cool.
Yeah. Wiggles, I feel
It's
like
fine.
they're more often like dropping it for 10 rather than doing the whole like hoop jumping thing because just like not having to discard lessons it's for it is decent. It's a fine card. Actually, I think Bullseye as well. Like the latest Bullseye deck I can remember being played didn't even do like the other stuff. It was just like Bullseye plus brass scales, and
Oh,
that
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
you just kind of threw it at them and then put it back into play and then threw it at them again. And sometimes you had Arthur. It was like
Hmm.
play, get an extra action from DMS, Arthur, throw it at them. 26, 23 damage a turn.
Maybe I'll build that deck and do it in the next tournament.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. It works.
But you know what was a tournament deck that somebody played, and I think there were two tournament decks that actually somebody played this, was the Owl Tribal deck, which I think they did a Quidditch Owl thing, if I remember correctly. I
Yeah,
can't remember what deck it
yeah.
was or who what it was years
Yeah, that
ago.
was top eight, I want to say,
It was
on the
really high. It was
May.
higher than it should
The
have been.
that was top eight in the May revival tournament. The one that you just posted the video for the finals in our chat, Discord, I think.
Oh, yeah, 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 that one. It was a while ago, yeah.
That was our first like large tournament, and we had like 20 something people.
Yep.
I played it in top eight, and I was like, "What in the world is this deck even doing?" No offense to whoever made the deck, but like, I was just like, "What is going on?" I'm getting hit with like Quidditch spells and owls, and like, I
Yep.
just can't understand this.
But it was a 25-person tournament, and that Owl deck placed seventh, which is
Yes,
wild. Granted,
yeah,
the decks in that tournament ranged from incredibly well-rounded to
yes.
total jank that had no business being in a tournament. And so
But
it was what it
we
was,
love
but it was
you
good.
anyways
Yeah,
for
so for
bringing
sure.
total jank. Yeah, I mean, it was also like kind of the nascent like online HBTCG community where people hadn't been playing that much and like hadn't been like exposed to a whole bunch of other decks before. So it was the wild, wild west out there.
Yes, it was.
I have fond memories of that tournament and playing Mrs. Norris, looking at my opponent's hand and being
Yes.
like, "Oh yes, I am going to die here. This is how you kill me."
No, yeah, it was a really cool tournament. If you haven't seen the final gameplay video from that, I highly recommend going back and watching it. It was an incredible game. Both players did very, very well. They played great. Go watch it. But the Owls did introduce, or were the first introduction of kind of this idea of like a tribal or typal group of cards within the game, because they had Ilops Owl, which was
Orion.
the card that let all the owls do one more damage and have one more health. And so it kind of like set the standard for what typal decks may look like moving forward. And it really wasn't until Chamber of Secrets that we got more typal decks in Gryffindor, Slytherin, and Plants. And so this was also something that this set introduced, was this idea of typal, which is just a cool thing. Many people who play Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever else, are very familiar with like typal being a thing and building around like a specific keyword or something like that.
We've been trying to slowly flesh out spiders in
Yep.
revival. TBD on how that's going, but it's okay. We actually just need like another card like that brings it all together.
Yeah.
There's currently like the payoff for that is just not quite there. I think Aragog is a little too weak to
If we
do
could go
even.
back and redesign
And
Aragog, it would be incredible.
sure, what's he doing? Give me this
I
off the top of your head right now.
I would lower the cost by one, reduce the
Hmm.
discard by one, so it's only discarding one,
Okay.
not two. And I would
Okay.
also probably increase the damage, leave him with a big
Yeah.
butt, but then
Yeah.
maybe give
Yeah.
him some kind of like better benefit for actual spiders. I don't want to go to the token area because fought very hard against the whole token area.
Yes.
But maybe it's
Yes.
like a before you turn your turn, you go search for a spider, put it into play, or put it into your hand, and get rid of like the extra damage or health that he gives. Spiders don't need
Mhm.
that; like they're doing enough damage already because they swarm really well. But you need to be able to
For sure.
find more spiders. Maybe just like a search every
Yeah.
turn, and then he's kind of a decent boss monster. Maybe like a
For sure.
5. I
All
can't
right.
match giant squid, so he can't be a 5'10. So maybe he's like a
Uh,
four
I
nine.
mean, 4-9 for 7, discard 1. That's pretty rough. It's okay. I guess if he's not throwing them into play, like, it's okay.
I mean, we could
I
have
feel
him
like he
throw
should
him into
play them into
play. Like,
play.
sure, yeah, let's go, just
Yeah,
go
that'd be
crazy.
cool.
All
Yeah.
right, everybody,
If
get ready. We're gonna have a Lost Magic number 2, and Aragog, part 2 is gonna be the headliner, and he's gonna be
Yeah,
fantastic.
it'll be what like Aragog, leader of the swarm or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something that like plays into his swarming abilities.
yeah,
That'd be pretty cool. But the problem is like if you make it Aragog, then you can't actually get the other Aragog in play.
yeah, which is a problem.
So maybe isn't there like the who died in book 6 and like Slughorn takes the
Him,
poison. It was Aragog? Aragog died?
yeah,
Okay, we can do like Aragog's like children or something.
yeah.
Put that effect on like one of Aragog's children, and then like you can bring Aragog into play, and then now all your spiders are just gonna go and just destroy your opponent. It'll be
It's gonna
cool.
be a really fun deck in the future.
Yeah, look forward to it. Coming circa 2032.
I know, for real. No, no time soon. No time soon.
Yeah. But anyways, Typal, first time that we saw Typal, and hopefully we'll see that continued in the future, and we'll have more support for that because we do have a support card for Typal, but she currently in playtesting looks like the biggest trait that she works with is advanced lessons. And that's
She works with
it's
many things, but the advanced lessons are, yes, very, very good.
yeah, it's something.
It is quite something.
Anyways,
But before we go on to like a teaser card from the upcoming set, I do want to ask you, like, what is just your favorite card from the set? And whether that's playing or the art or the effect, doesn't have to be good. Just what card do you feel like you like the most?
it would probably just be gameplay. I think I have like the fondest memories of Hermione Top Student.
Okay.
Not that I've ever played like an actual deck with her in like actual Harry Potter revival, but I have so many fond memories of the beta version of Tom Riddle that like
Yeah.
he reduced the cost of your cards by like the number of lesson types you had in play, and then you just like start Hermione Top Student and like find 2 lessons, and you had like 5 lessons in your entire deck. You'd just go off to the races with him.
That would be incredible.
Yes, but also I have been pushing like so hard for this lesson types matter deck to be in the game where like you just have things that go off based on the number of different lesson types. That's why you saw Lantern Lit Trail. I think partially it was me pushing for something like that. I don't know. In Quarters World Finals, not that I had that much input in Quarters World Finals, but that there's a new card in TT that I pushed really hard to get Judge's Marks. I just want my 5 color decks, man.
They will
I don't
be
know what
there
else to
one
say.
day.
Judge's Marks is really cool. We should talk about that instead of the other one that we
Yeah,
had.
sure. Spoil that one. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Judge's Marks, 10 cost, Quidditch spell that says if you have at least 3 different lesson types in play, do 8 damage to an opponent. If you have at least 4 different lesson types in play, draw 3 cards. If you have at least 5 different lesson types in play, choose 2 of the opponent cards in play and discard them. So this is kind of like the capstone of like, my 5 color lesson type thing is just gonna smash my opponent. You just keep playing this, and then it's a pretty brutal like control finisher piece that's like killing your opponent and controlling the board. It might need to be toned down because like killing 2 things and doing 8 damage and drawing 3 cards is pretty good.
I don't
But
know.
we
That's requiring 5 lesson types, which is a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like what else are you doing in this deck right now, other than just trying to get them
um
all out to play this?
I was doing the Patel twins into middle
Yeah.
range. Those cards need to be a little bit changed.
A
Sorry
little
for
bit.
everyone that liked the Patel twins, but they're getting really nerfed, I think.
Yep. Very, very nerfed. Or change entirely because they're a lot.
Yeah, that's the card that we boiled or
It was a
teased like
while ago.
yeah, very early on into like TT development. But yeah, they're not gonna like search your deck for any number of lessons and throw them into your bin anymore. They're gonna do something else.
Well,
It's a
hopefully
cool
you
card.
all like that spoiled card.
Yeah.
We haven't test played it yet, so we'll see kind of what happens with it. But it is a really, really cool
Excuse
card.
me. I did test
Oh,
play
you
it
did?
and
Sorry,
I
sorry.
I destroyed Drew with it. It was
Well,
brutal.
you've got no notes on our sheet, so
Okay, I can write. I destroyed Drew
there you
with
go.
it.
Perfect.
Tell twins. Tell twins is problematic.
Yep.
Cool. Because we didn't know that the Patel twins were problematic before. But yeah, if
Yeah.
you can ramp to this and like I need just tried in like a shell where you just have like a bunch of random advanced lessons and I don't know, your deck is like 45 lessons or something, and then you're just playing advanced lessons? That
Yeah,
sounds miserable.
it just sounds miserable. But hey, I mean, if that's the deck this card works in, then that's not great if there's not another one, but sure. Well, do you have any last thoughts about Diagon Alley as a set or any stuff in it?
Why is Peter Grabs the Snitch like rare foil premium card? What the hell?
Listen, we know from picking on Neville that rarities are not something that people understand back in 2001. So it is what it is. They probably should have switched picking on Neville with Peter Grabs the Snitch. It could have gone in the same spot in the order. It would have been fine. Well, I lied. It can't. But
Yeah.
it would have been fine. But rarities were
Uh,
not well known.
Peter Grabs the Snitch though has like very beautiful art, so it has that going for it. Picking on
It is very
Neville,
good art.
yes, but also not as good as Peter Grabs the Snitch. I think that's one of my favorite arts.
It's very, very
So
good.
if it's common, like, can you imagine like your bulk is just like 15 like Peter Grabs the Snitch from Diagon Alley, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with these? At least like picking on Neville, if you have like a bunch of them, you throw
You can
them
play
into all your
them.
decks, and you're happy.
Yeah,
Um,
overall, I thought it was just a really, really cool set now that we looked more into it. And it's got some really interesting stuff, some really high highs and really low lows.
Peter Grabs the Snitch. I hope you enjoyed our look back to the past Diagon Alley. Maybe we'll do one of these set reviews in the future. Probably for a revival set next, I would assume.
Yeah, we did a
Uh,
revival one last. We'll probably do an
yeah.
original one next too, or flip, whatever. So we have announced that we are going to be at Gen Con this year. So if anybody is able to attend, that would be awesome. We are going to have 4 events, and the Learn to Play is actually sold out. It's sold out on the first day, which is incredible. And then the draft is half sold out at this point, and I've not checked the tournaments that we're going to be having. All of the information is on our website and on Gen Con's website. So if you're going to be around and you want to stop by, even if you haven't registered, you're welcome to stop by and just kind of see what we're doing and to chat. We're super excited about it and to meet all of you. We'll have more information coming out on our website and Discord and Facebook and everything. So make sure you check there. In the meantime, follow us on all of our socials, and we will chat with you next time. See ya.
Yep. Peace.